Guys, let's talk about the difference between a waiting season and being stuck and stagnant. So a perfect example of a waiting season is the story of Abraham and Sarah, for those who know the story. But God gave Abraham a promise that he was going to give him a son. And they waited years before they actually saw that promise, before they saw God fulfill his promise. Now, I wouldn't say that they, perfectly patiently waited. For those of you who know the story, you know that they did not. But yet, they were waiting on God, and then God fulfilled his word. So a waiting season is when you're waiting on God to do something that he said that he was going to do. But we know God moves on his timing. So when you're stuck and stagnant, though, 9 times out of 10, God is waiting on you to move. He's waiting for you to do something. And that something is some instruction, direction that he has given you that you have yet to do. Prime example, the Israelites. When Moses freed the Israelites from Egypt, they end up being stuck in the desert, y'all, for 40 years because of disobedience. They didn't want to obey the instruction and direction of the Lord. So they stayed stuck in the desert for 40 years. That is what being stuck and stagnant produces. Like that is what it looks like. You're stuck in a place, and you're not going to move out of that place until you obey God, obey his instruction, and obey his direction. Now, I do want to talk about the ways that the enemy attacks us to prevent us from doing what God needs us to do or ask us to do. One of the ways is that he may cause discouragement. If God tell us to do something, we become discouraged in our hearts. The enemy convinces us somehow, some way that we don't have what it takes to get it done. And so we'll just sit on it and we don't do it. Another way, he keeps us so busy. The spirit of busyness, he just keeps us so busy where we don't have time. So I would say for me personally, that's probably one of the ways that I see that he used against me. Is because, I'm a wife and I'm a mother of 4. So it just feels like I'm busy all the time, right? It seems like there's a problem. There's always a problem that needs to be fixed. But that's how the enemy works. He'll keep you so busy where you're so tired. You've poured out all of your energy, poured out all of your time in fixing issues that you don't have time to do what God has told you to do. And so those things just kind of fall in the background. Another way is distractions, of course. Now, busyness is when he'll keep you so busy that you don't have time. Distractions is when you have the time, but he has your focus on something else. He'll put something, before you. Some of us, we get highly distracted by social media. We'll say, I'm just going to go in here scroll for about 5-10 minutes. Before 2 hours that went by, and you still scrolling on TikTok. I mean, we're all, guilty of it. But that is how the enemy keeps you distracted from doing what God needs you to do and focusing on what God needs you to focus on. So the question is, how do you get out of a place of being stuck? How do you get out of that place of stagnation? Go back and remember the last thing that God told you to do and just do it. The thing is that on the other side of obedience is fruit. Always. There's always some type of fruit. There's always some type of shift, some type of just something, a benefit or reward that the enemy don't want us to get to. And so he will keep you in a place where you don't follow the direction or instructions of God. But if you want to get out of that place where you're feeling stuck, get out of that state of stagnation, go back and do the last thing that God told you to do. But that's all I have for you guys. I will talk to you soon.